Hey, what's good? It's Cadillaktrackz. This is quick tip 148, and today's quick tip is just a reminder, recommendation for everybody about library management. Um, you want to make sure that you keep your library real slim or not very big inside a machine because you want a machine to run at top speed. One of the mistakes I made when I first got a machine was I started to bring in or basically import my drum kits and big large sample libraries that I had inside a machine. I wanted to be able to browse those samples inside a machine quickly, push the browser button, load them up and go right to them. But I learned over time that that's not effective, so I just wanted to share this quick tip with everybody today. I just made a change to my drum kit today, or to my machine browser, and I was noticing some delays. If you have too many sounds inside of your machine, what'll happen is when you try to switch between the different screens like samples, effects, instruments, sounds, and groups and projects, it'll actually have a delay or a lag. It might take a second or two to load, especially when you go to samples and groups and stuff like that. It takes a long time to load because you have so many sounds inside your library on machine. It has to actually load those sounds up, so it might take a second or two to load up a large library, and it's really not effective to have it that way. Remember that machine, you can browse. I can go right here to the files tab and I can browse my computer and my hard drive, so I can find any file that I need to quickly that way. I could also go to any file that I like inside of my folder or in my computer once I browse to it. Like say if I went and I clicked on one of these drives, I can just right click it and go to add to favorites, and it'll bring it up here so that I can get to it quickly anytime that I'm looking for it. But it's not effective to actually bring them inside your browser. And what I mean is that when you go to file and you go to preferences right here, what you do is you go to library and you go to user, and this is where you bring in your user custom libraries. I've showed y'all on my channel already how you can bring in your custom libraries right here, and when you bring them in, you can actually have your own custom library or whatever, and you can make a graphic for it. I've showed you that on my channel, so make sure you look on my videos if you don't know how to do that. If you're just bringing them in and it's got the squiggly line, you can actually make a graphic and update it, keep it real nice and pretty. But the whole point of this video is that you do not want to bring a lot of samples inside a machine because it will slow the machine down and the browser down, and you start to get a lag and a delay on your machine when you switch between the different things. And I just have an example. This is a sound bank. I call it sound bank. It's some sounds I got a long time ago when I first started making beats, and it was so many of them and so many weird samples and so much great stuff. And I had imported it inside of my machine, so I had actually went inside a machine to preferences, and I had actually loaded it up inside of my user banks, and I made a little graphic for it and everything. But it was actually causing my machine to move slow, and I'm just gonna show you, because if I open up my sound bank right here, this little sound bank, and I looked at the size of it, it's almost 30 gigabytes. It's a lot of sounds that I got a long time ago, and it's like all type of samples, guitar samples, Asian, Chinese samples, movie samples, drum kits, and it was sounds I got almost 10 years ago. A lot of them aren't even that great. It's actually 60 something gigabytes, and I actually had this imported inside of my machine. And anytime you have large files like that imported inside a machine, it slows it down big time. So today's quick tip recommendation, it's a lot of rambling just to tell you that you do not want to bring all your drum kits inside a machine, or you do not want to actually import large files inside a machine. It'll slow the browser down big time, and you want the browser to be very quick. So if you do bring something inside a machine, make sure that it's small files, maybe a few 100 megabytes, maybe a gig or two at the most, but nothing large like that large file right there. It's better just to have it inside your browser, inside of Fruity Loops or something, or maybe just have it on the computer, like I said, where you can go through, push the files button and get to it quickly like that. But there's no point in really having it like I had it, like you saw, like I had it. It really just takes up way too much space, and you don't want to do that. So see right here, I can go to my sound bank, go to add to favorites, and bam, there it is right now at the top. And that way I can get to it quickly without taking up so much space inside of my machine browser. So that's it, man. That's my quick tip for today. Make sure you check out my channel if you don't know how to add your own custom little things right here. I have some good kits. I have this 808 for days. This is one I actually sell. It's 1,000 custom 808s, and I sell it for like 20 bucks. It's 1,000 808s, probably all the good ones you have and don't have. And then I got my custom Cadillaktrackz drum kit. This is the drum kit I consolidated sounds over the course of 2 years into this drum kit. It's like the best drum kit. It's the last drum kit I'm gonna use, because when I start to get at new sounds, they suck so much. I really believe these producers put out the most horrible, crappiest sounds in the drum kits, just so that you don't have their sounds and you can't copy their style. And that's it, man. But that's just my opinion. But alright, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the video up, man. But just remember, don't put or bring large libraries inside of your machine browser. It'll slow it down, and you don't want it to slow down. When you push a button, like going from groups to samples to effects, you don't want it to take more than just 1 second. You just want it to go very quick. Alright, one.